Welcome, everybody.
Hey, hey.
Work smarter where you want.
This is learning at its most fun.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another new Partner Spotlight with Redtail Technology. I am your host, Austin Johnson. I am a trainer and subject matter expert here at Redtail Technology. Today, I'm joined by Andrew, Luis, and Josh. Andrew is the founder and CEO of FP Alpha. He's also the president of Altfest Personal Wealth Management. Luis is the co-founder of FP Alpha and the chief technology officer. And then lastly, we have Josh, the sales executive, who's going to be helping a lot of you get signed up with the new products that FP Alpha has to offer. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Andrew, are you there?
I'm here. Great to be here with you, Austin. Really appreciate it and looking forward to our partnership.
Yeah, definitely, Andrew. We got lots of exciting things coming with the new integration. I just wanted to start off today's Partner Spotlight with just a little bit about your background. So who are you? Maybe you can give us a little bit of a background into your journey into this industry.
Yeah, so I've been a financial advisor for 17 years. So I'm also president of a 40-person RA in Midtown Manhattan. We have 17 CFPs that work there. So I'm a financial advisor. I've been working with financial advisors for many years. And I've been around the profession my whole life. Was brought in by my family. Both my parents are well-known financial advisors. I've been in the industry since I was 14 years old, believe it or not. First helping out my folks. And then when I was 15, I started an internship with Sanford Bernstein. 16, I was working at Smith Barney. After high school, I founded an investments club in high school, and then I joined the wealth management practice straight out of college, first assisting on the client side, and then I went back for my MBA at Columbia, and I've taken on different leadership roles within the wealth management firm, Altfest Personal Wealth Management. And that was my background before starting FP Alpha, which launched in February of this year and has previously been being utilized by our RIA for years before then.
Awesome. Wow. A real extensive background there. Tell us a little bit about how FP Alpha came to be. What kind of problems were you guys looking to solve by starting FP Alpha?
Yeah, so as a financial advisor and as a leader of an RIA, I was looking to increase our value proposition to financial planning. Like so many other advisors, we're placing more emphasis around financial planning. Our clients are asking for more help. It's a clear differentiator. But the issue that I found was that as soon as you get beyond retirement planning and solving the problem about how much money can I safely spend without being at risk of outliving my money, and start getting into the other areas of financial planning, like how do I find gaps and opportunities in my estate plan, or how do I reduce my income taxes, or how do I find the risks and gaps in my insurance policies and ways to reduce premium. You start moving into comprehensive planning, you're in a world of manual work. And so our clients were asking us for help in these areas. But what I literally had to do was I had to build checklists and spreadsheets. I built a 40-page estate planning checklist, and I was trying to train our team in how to use this process, how to read wills and trusts. And I could just see that there was no way that I was going to be able to scale this, that there was no way that we were going to be able to offer this within our service model. And I could see that this was completely backwards. I didn't understand why this wasn't covered by any software. And so we were doing this within estate planning. We had these processes within tax planning and insurance planning. And so there was no software on the market. So I teamed up with Luis several years ago. He has a background in artificial intelligence, and we pulled in 40 subject matter experts, attorneys, accountants, insurance brokers, mortgage brokers, And what we do is I'll use advanced technology to read financial documents like wills, trusts, tax returns, insurance policies, extract information from those documents, and then we combine that with algorithms that were put together by leading subject matter experts, the attorneys and accountants and insurance brokers CFPs that I've mentioned, and create recommendations for advisors to share with their clients. It's done very efficiently. They're elegant deliverables. We allow advisors to quantify the value, and we allow advisors to monitor these areas going forward. And so we do not overlap with any financial planning software. We are complementary. We don't do Monte Carlo analysis. We don't compete. And we cover 17 areas of planning. And so we are working and building and towards a vision of taking client financial information we have, and then allowing advisors to turn that very easily into very high impact financial planning opportunities for their clients.
Okay. So first of all, appreciate everyone on the call for attending and your interest in FP Alpha thus far, and how we are going to change the way planning is conducted by advisors on a broader scale. And what you see here is the advisor's dashboard. So when you log in as an advisor, all of your information will be pre-populated due to the integration with Redtail, which we'll touch on a little bit further on the back end of the call by Luis. So your clients' names and emails are on the left-hand side. Next, their FP Alpha score will appear, which is more or less an optimization calculation or financial wellness score assigned to the clients for the areas they're enrolled in on our platform. You then have whether they're a client or a prospect. If they are a prospect, you can upgrade them to a client with the click of a button. And we do have a prospecting tool that we'll be releasing in the upcoming week, so stay tuned for more information on that. But I think from a business development standpoint, that will be extremely impactful in the way that advisors approach prospects and interact with prospects. Next, you have the ability to share clients internally. So whether Andrew and myself are an advisory firm and building out a client's financial plan, want to work in a remote environment like the one we're in today, possibly, we can both work towards that common goal in different areas and access the information which is on the platform. Now, creating a new client is quite simple. It's just first and last name, client email. You then have an optional client portal that we provide. On the bottom of the screen here, you will see all the areas of planning that we cover. So that's going to span through tax, estate, all of insurance, as well as more niche areas like divorce, creditor protection, and cross-border planning. So as Andrew said, we have the brains of over 40 subject matter experts in the platform. Those individuals review their areas of expertise in an ongoing manner to ensure that our recommendations and our engine is up to date and providing the highest level and quality of advice. This allows and enables advisors to practice comprehensively, which otherwise would be very difficult as it's constantly changing and evolving, and our subject matter experts are staying on top of the ball to keep you informed and provide that highest level of advice and ensure an overall client experience that exceeds expectations. Now, today we'll walk through a pre-populated demo client based off of a prospect that actually came to our founder, Andrew, a couple of months ago. And this particular prospect was working with another advisor who was just using basic planning software. And when they came to Andrew, we put them through our process by uploading their documents and analyzing their overall situation. We were able to determine that there was a number of holes and gaps within their plan. So when you create a client, the first thing that FP Alpha will do is bring you to the general questionnaire. Now, I did that manually just because the client was already created. However, typically with a new client, it would do so automatically. Now, at this point, we'll request some high-level demographic data. With the integration, this will already be pre-populated as you likely house this data in your Redtail account. Gender, age, where do they live, what's their occupation, do they own a business, estimated net worth, and then some additional questions to get more specific around their family. All this will be dynamic and responsive. So based on what you select, additional fields might populate, and there's no duplication of inputs. So what you input here will be applied throughout the software. Now, if you do provide your clients with optional portal access, they can provide this information as well. Once this is all complete and filled out, you can submit, and the software will take you to the areas of planning that you've enrolled in. So this is very much a modular planning software. As the client's financial situation changes and evolves, so does the platform. So it's not something that you have to decide upon day one, but can be fluid with that client situation. So today we'll go ahead and walk through estate planning. So when you enter that area of planning, the software will prompt you to say, does the client have an estate plan? And would you like to input that information manually? Presumably that answer will be no. At that point, you can upload a client's will. As you see here, this is the will that we have uploaded for this particular individual. And in about 1 to 3 minutes, our proprietary technology is able to read that will, extract relevant information, and apply that to make planning recommendations. So to review the information that has been extracted, you can simply select yes. But we also do the same thing for revocable trusts. In tax, it would be their tax return. In insurance, it would be their declaration pages. And we can provide planning opportunities or identify planning opportunities in all 17 areas that we cover. Now, to review the extractions, you can see here that these are all the extracted data points that we've pulled. This allows you to either double check that the extractions are completely accurate and also make sure that your client's information is up to date. In terms of the multiple ways to generate recommendations on our platform, we accommodate an advisor's workflow. So it can be one, an advisor-driven process where the advisor uploads the information and answers the optional questionnaires. It can be two, a client-assisted process where the client uploads the documents and answers the optional questionnaires. However, for quality control purposes, the advisor would go in and make sure that everything looks okay. And then three, it can be a client engagement tool. So you can utilize our structure and framework to work through this with the client, whether it's behind the scenes or a tool that you engage the client with and show them is completely up to you. But again, I want to stress that this allows us to really conform to an advisor's workflow. Once this is complete, you would then submit to generate recommendations. The software will take you to a screen that you can select the individual subcategories of the recommendations. You can also select top insights. So for an advisor who would just simply like to upload the document and receive an executive summary, they can do so. For an advisor who would like to go into more depth, they can select all. You will then see a list of recommendations specific to your client. And this allows you to review the recommendations, not your client. So this is only visible by the advisor, not by the client. We want to empower the advisor, not replace them. So each recommendation will have an explanation next to it as to why it has populated to prepare you for that question from the client about why you're recommending it. In terms of the recommendations themselves, we go into great depth and detail. So here you'll see John should be aware of inheritance taxes in the state he lives in. Leaving assets to a non-exempt beneficiary could result in inheritance tax. If John plans to leave assets to a non-exempt beneficiary, proper planning is important to mitigate that tax. On the bottom, you'll then see New Jersey inheritance tax rules. Our software offers state-level estate tax recommendations for states with estate tax. We offer insights into community property states, as well as a complex estate planning process that's triggered by certain thresholds of net worth by individuals or couples. Now, beyond this, we'll go into different types of vehicles that are applicable for an individual, such as CRUTs, CRATs, QTIPs, or QPERTs. Should the client elect to use a will or a trust, asset titling, as well as life insurance and how that plays into the estate planning process, just to name a few. We also allow the advisor to really take control of the recommendations. So each recommendation is fully editable in our task manager. But first, you would add the recommendations that apply to your particular individual to the task manager. And then once that is completed and you've selected the recommendations that apply to your particular client, you can move on to the task manager. In the task manager, these recommendations, as I mentioned, are fully editable. So think of this as a workflow component built into the software itself. Each recommendation can be edited based on your desire, and you can personalize that to your particular client. As far as the actions that are tied to the recommendation, our software comes with many pre-populated actions that will make this an actionable service plan to go over a review with your client. And you can adjust priority levels, whether it's high, medium, or low, assign ownership. So whether it is to be executed by the client or advisor, as well as due dates. And then if there's anything that you would like to incorporate that we have not, you can add new recommendations at this point as well. So this really allows you as the advisor to monitor, ensure, and edit the recommendations. As I mentioned, more of a workflow component built into the software itself. The next step from here would be to generate the actual reports or client deliverables. So today we offer two types of reports. The first is a recommendation report. So that will detail out in a white labeled report all of the recommendations that we've provided for this particular individual. The second type of report is a task manager report, which is more closely tied to the recommendations or actions that you've selected for your particular client. So once again, this is a white labeled report, so it would have your firm name and logo. All the recommendations would then follow, as well as the actions, who's responsible for completing that action, what's the priority level and due date. So this truly lays out an actionable service plan that's more digestible for your client to review in an annual or biannual meeting. And this really allows you to say, okay, this is what we've done for you and your client, or excuse me, this is what we've done for your client over the last 6 months, and this is what we plan to do over the next 12 months. As far as enhancing this report, more exciting news to come in the upcoming weeks from FP Alpha along with that prospecting tool. So stay tuned on that. Now, as far as additional features and deliverables, as you know, FP Alpha does more than just a state, but in the brevity of time, we felt that that was the most relevant area to show. However, we do have a number of additional features and deliverables within tax. We have visuals to engage the client that display their taxable income, their tax bracket, cap gains rate, and filing status. We have a tax projection tool that will allow you to scenario plan based on adjustments, estimate future tax payments. We also do similar things within a state, predicting or projecting federal estate tax liabilities. And then for each area of planning, we have summaries or snapshots. So this allows you as an advisor to see a snapshot of your client's particular situation. What are some high-level data points, all the implemented recommendations, and how they impacted the client's optimization level, as well as changes over time. So truly showing a breadcrumb trail of advice as to what you've implemented for that client. And how this is beneficial is, one, to provide a concise view of your client's information, but also for that inevitable conversation or question from a client. What are you doing to earn or justify that 1% fee or whatever your fee may be? And this allows you to really refute that objection. And then lastly, we do have educational content. So videos for both training aspects of our subject matter experts breaking down complex planning topics. And this can be used, as I mentioned, as a training tool for more junior advisors, but also as a client engagement tool. So whether you have a conversation with a client about maybe not having enough disability insurance, our subject matter experts break down those topics in a simplified manner, and you can send this to a client. Now I will pass it along to Luis to discuss the integration itself and how we really transform client data into actionable planning recommendations with the new Redtail integration.
Thank you, Josh. Good day, everyone. Thanks for joining in. I'll share my screen now. Okay, so yeah, now that you now are familiar on what FP Alpha does and how we generate value for clients, we're going to be showing now how we use the integration that we have with Redtail to build these comprehensive plans, and to what extent does the integration get to date. So in this example here, as you can see my screen, I have this Redtail demo account with six customers, right? So I have John, I have Liam, David, Dave, Robert, Raquel. And so that is where the process starts, right? You already have some information of your clients in your CRM in Redtail. So what we're doing here is once you get to FP Alpha, right? So this is your FP Alpha account. This is the client list that we just saw with in Josh's demo. Just this client list is empty. So the first step to the integration is you go to settings, you go to Redtail integration, you input your Redtail username and your Redtail password, right? And then just with one simple button, the Redtail account integration is completed, right? So you get notified on that, and then you are redirected to the client list. In this client list, as you can see, here are all of the clients that we saw on the Redtail account, right? So this is also a two-way integration. At the end, I'm going to be showing how you can also keep your Redtail account up to date if you add new clients on FP Alpha. But yeah, up to this point, you can see all of the clients that we pull from Redtail, right? And this is not the only information that we pull from Redtail. As Josh mentioned also earlier in the demo, we also extract most of the information that we need, the basic information that we use for most of our processes. So let's take a look at this, the example of John Smith. If you click on John Smith, we can see here that that this information is what we extract from Redtail, right? In here, you can see what was extracted from Redtail. You can also review or add additional information that we that we may need in the process. And yeah, so the purpose of this is to get as many data points from Redtail as possible. So with this information, what we do, we have two options, right? So this is the basic information that we get from the customers, the basic information that we need from for all the process that we work with. So let's say for example, the case of tax planning. So in tax planning, you can use the already pre-populated data from Redtail, all the data that we pulled in from the CRM, upload a tax return, right? Upload a tax return and generate recommendations just taking that into consideration. This is important because we are creating a comprehensive plan from the information that you have on your CRM. Even if that's not much, even with basic information, we can generate important recommendations that add value for clients. Additionally, you can also generate recommendations if you go over the questionnaires and give us more information on the clients. But even if you did only this, you would generate recommendations. So you would upload a tax return, you would submit the information, and you would generate recommendations for tax planning, right? So these are a couple of examples of recommendations that we can give, right? And the same thing on estate planning. On estate planning, we can give recommendations based on basic information that we have from the client. So all the process, the rest, it works exactly the same. You'd have our education model or report generation model, or task manager, and what you just covered in the demo. But that's not it for integration. Additionally, what we do is, let's say that you already have these 6 clients that you imported from Redtail, right? And this is ongoing. So if you go to your Redtail account and add 2 more clients, then you will see those clients also on FP Alpha reflected. That is important. And the same thing, if you maybe are on FP Alpha and you like to add a client quickly, right? Such as this, we can click on Add Client, input this basic information for the client, and select the areas that we want to analyze for the client, and click on Create. Then, as soon as that's done, you can see here that we just added Roger Jackson, and if you go to your Redtail account, you'll also see Roger Jackson added to your Redtail account. So that is the full scope of the integration at this moment. We're also you're going to be integrating more parts of the software, like the workflow tool and other integrations that we have, other enhancements that we have planned with Redtail for integrations. But that is the full capabilities of integration as of this moment.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Luis, for that. Thank you, Josh, as well, for showing us what an awesome product. I am blown away by that AI capability. That's amazing that you can just process a document like that and generate recommendations. Uh, you could definitely tell that you guys did your homework with that stuff, and I'm sure that those 40 subject matter experts definitely helped in the process. But man, I've seen some financial planning tools, but I've never seen the AI capabilities like that before. That's awesome. So if you guys are as impressed as I am and you want to know more about FP Alpha, feel free to contact Josh. I got his phone number, his email here. You can also just visit fpalpha.com to schedule a demo. And then they are also active on LinkedIn and Twitter, so be sure to connect with them there as well. We are going to move now into a time of Q&A. So I'm sure that there are lots of questions that you might have about FP Alpha and its capabilities. So if you have questions for Andrew, Josh, or Luis, feel free to throw them into the Q&A box, and we'll go ahead and answer them together live. All right, we got our first question here. This question comes from Jeff. He would like to know, what is the typical turnaround time for PDFs emailed to you for data input?
Yeah, this is a good question for Luis. I'll pass that one to Luis. What do you think, Luis?
Yeah, so the typical turnaround for time that we have for appeals that we email. So that is something very important to us because we take a lot of security measures on this. So just also to inform our database and aware of this, we actually don't have any access to the documents uploaded. So the documents are read, and then we got rid of them. We just extract the data points that we need to run a process. And inside the actual platform, we have an option that they can send us the document to be manually processed, right? So if they choose to do that, they are the secure method that we have on the platform. Typical turnaround time is 24 hours. So we would manually process that PDF for you and generate recommendations for the customer and notify the advisor when that part is done. But it's less than 24 hours.
Awesome, Luis. So if I'm hearing you guys correctly, for security purposes, you don't guys keep those data points. You just take the PDF, you compile the data that you need to make the recommendations, and then the data remains the advisors. Is that right?
That's correct. We only store the actual file for as long as it takes us to read it, right? If it takes 30 seconds, we store it for 30 seconds. We get the data points and we get rid of the document.
Okay, great to know. Thank you.
And just something that I think might be helpful in terms of providing additional insight into the product from my demonstration is that September will be a very exciting month for FP Alpha. We'll be releasing a lot of upgrades, developments, and features that I think will be extremely impactful in terms of how advisors are conducting their planning. So I would encourage you all to follow us, as Austin mentioned, on social media and listen in. Additionally, a couple benefits that I think we would like to reiterate are the fact that FP Alpha really allows you as an advisor to provide more premium wealth services to the entirety of your client base, not just the top 10, 20%, but really scale that comprehensive planning offering. We allow you to quantify the value of your advice by way of calculators and additional tools and features. We allow you to standardize advice across your firm, so there's consistent messaging across clients. And then also institutionalize internal processes, such as eliminating extensive spreadsheets and checklists like Andrew was using at his firm. And an example that I think really resonates with our users and prospects is that we like to utilize an analogy where you go to a Starbucks in New York City versus a Starbucks in California. The coffee tastes the same, the building and the restaurant or store looks the same. And overall, we want to allow you or enable you as an advisor to duplicate that experience and provide your clients with an experience that exceeds expectations. So I think, as I mentioned, I think that's something that has really resonated with people in the past. And I think something that we're trying to replicate in the advisory space. But I do see there's another question. So I will pass it off to you, Austin.
Thanks for that insight, Josh. Yeah, definitely excited to see the things that FP Alpha is working towards and making those available. So you heard him, folks. September is going to be a big month. So we had a follow-up question from Jeff about where exactly should we go to upload those files securely. Are we doing that inside the FP Alpha portal, or are we going to be doing that to some kind of email address? Can you guys talk a little bit more about where do I go to submit those things like tax returns or wills?
Yeah, of course. This is a development that we released a few months ago. This was something that we did not launch with. Now whenever you get like an invalid file, you get a prompt. It's saying that you have two options. You can manually input the information, if it's like a scan or we have any trouble reading it, or you can send it over to us via the FP Alpha platform with just one click. So that's a recent development that we released a couple of months ago. And yeah, there's also the alternative to email that to the support team that we have.
And I think just to piggyback off of Luis's response, our document and extraction technology is reading at a very high level. So the invalid likelihood is quite minimal. It's just in the rare case that would occur, we do offer an alternative for you to get in touch with us and import that information.
Thanks so much for joining us today for this particular session. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call at 800-206-5030, option 3 for support, or just shoot us an email over to support@redtailtechnology.com. Thanks a lot and have a great day.